What happens when America's sweetheart meets her match in live television's most unexpected confrontation? The answer will shock you. Make sure to subscribe and drop a comment below because this story gets absolutely wild. It started like any other Tuesday morning on Good Morning America. The cameras were rolling, the studio lights were bright, and Jennifer Aniston had just settled into the guest chair across from Robin Roberts. What was supposed to be a light-hearted promotional interview for her latest project quickly turned into television history that nobody saw coming. "Jennifer, welcome back to Good Morning America," Robin said with her signature warm smile. "It's always such a pleasure to have you here." "Thank you for having me, Robin. Always love being here," Jennifer replied, though something in her voice seemed slightly strained. Robin shuffled through her notes and looked up with that practiced television presenter look. "Now, I have to ask about the recent comments you made regarding the entertainment industry's treatment of women over 40. Some people are calling your statements controversial." Jennifer's posture shifted almost imperceptibly. "Controversial? I think speaking the truth about systemic ageism shouldn't be controversial." "Robin, well, you did say that certain networks, and I'm quoting here, deliberately sideline experienced actresses in favor of younger, quote-unquote, more marketable faces. That's a pretty broad accusation." The tension in Jennifer's jaw was becoming visible to viewers at home. "It's not an accusation when it's documented fact. I've been in this industry for over 30 years, and I've watched incredibly talented women disappear from screens simply because they aged past some arbitrary cutoff point." Robin leaned forward slightly, her journalist instincts kicking in. "But Jennifer, isn't it also true that the market demands what the market demands? Networks are businesses, after all." "The market demands what networks tell them to demand," Jennifer shot back, her voice rising just a notch. "When you consistently cast 25-year-olds as the love interests of 50-year-old men, you're not responding to market demand, you're creating it." "That's an interesting perspective," Robin said, though her tone suggested she wasn't entirely convinced. "But don't you think that's perhaps oversimplifying a complex industry?" Jennifer's eyes flashed. "Oversimplifying? Robin, with respect, when was the last time you had to worry about being replaced by someone half your age?" The studio fell eerily quiet. Even the camera operators seemed to sense the shift in atmosphere. Robin's professional composure flickered for just a moment. "I think that's a bit unfair, Jennifer. We all face challenges in our careers." "Do we, though?" Jennifer pressed on. "Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like some of us get to age gracefully on television, while others get shuffled off to supporting grandmother roles." Robin's smile was becoming more forced by the second. "I think you're making this about something it's not about." "Am I? Or am I making it about exactly what it's about, and that makes people uncomfortable?" Jennifer's voice was steady, but there was fire behind it. "You know what makes me uncomfortable, Robin? Sitting here being told that my observations about my own industry are somehow invalid." The tension was palpable now. Robin glanced quickly at her producer off-camera before turning back to Jennifer. "Nobody's saying your observations are invalid, but there are ways to express concerns without alienating potential allies." Jennifer laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Alienating allies? Is that what we're calling honest conversation now?" "Honest conversation doesn't have to be accusatory," Robin countered. "And questioning the status quo doesn't have to be comfortable," Jennifer fired back immediately. The exchange was happening so quickly that viewers could barely keep up. This was not the Jennifer Aniston they were used to seeing, the one who usually deflected difficult questions with charm and humor. This was someone who had clearly reached a breaking point. "Jennifer, I think we should perhaps move on to discussing your upcoming projects," Robin suggested, trying to regain control of the interview. "Why? Because the conversation got real? Because we started talking about things that actually matter instead of what I had for breakfast?" Robin's professional mask was slipping. "That's not what I meant, and I think you know that." "Do I know that?" "Because it seems like every time women in this industry try to have substantive conversations about systemic issues, we get redirected to fluff pieces about our skincare routines." The camera caught Robin's slight eye roll, and Jennifer definitely saw it. "Did you just roll your eyes at me?" Jennifer asked, her voice dangerously quiet. "I know, I was just—" Robin stammered. "You absolutely did. You just rolled your eyes at me on live television because I had the audacity to want to discuss something meaningful. The control room was probably in chaos at this point, but the cameras kept rolling. This was live television at its most unpredictable. "Jennifer, I think there's been a misunderstanding," Robin tried to recover. "The only misunderstanding here is that I thought I was coming on a show that respected its guests enough to engage with their perspectives instead of dismissing them." Robin's composure was cracking. "Nobody dismissed anything. Rolling your eyes isn't dismissive. I didn't roll my eyes." "The cameras caught it, Robin. Millions of people just saw you roll your eyes at me." The silence stretched between them like a taut wire ready to snap. Neither woman was backing down, and the interview was spiraling into... Robin took a deep breath, clearly trying to regain her composure. "Jennifer, I understand you're passionate about this issue, but let's try to keep this professional." "Professional?" Jennifer's voice was incredulous. "What's unprofessional is pretending that dismissive behavior didn't just happen on live television. What's unprofessional is gaslighting your guest." "I'm not gaslighting anyone," Robin replied, but her voice was getting sharper. "I'm trying to conduct an interview." "No, you're trying to control a narrative. There's a difference." Jennifer leaned forward in her chair. "And frankly, Robin, this is exactly the kind of behavior I was talking about. The moment women speak up about real issues, we get told we're being unprofessional or difficult." Robin's jaw tightened. "I've been doing this for 25 years, Jennifer. I know how to conduct an interview. And I've been acting for over 30 years. I know when I'm being condescended to." The studio audience, which had been quietly watching this unfold, was completely silent. This was not what they had signed up for when they came to see a morning show taping. "Jennifer, I think you're reading into things that aren't there," Robin said, trying a different approach. "Am I? Or are you so used to people not calling you out that you don't recognize when someone is actually pushing back?" Robin's professional smile was completely gone now. "That's quite an assumption to make about someone you barely know." "I know enough," Jennifer replied coolly. "I know that you just tried to gaslight me about something that happened 30 seconds ago on live television. I know that you dismissed a serious conversation about industry discrimination as if it was gossip. And I know that instead of engaging with the substance of what I'm saying, you're trying to make this about my attitude." "Your attitude is part of the problem right now," Robin shot back, and immediately looked like she regretted saying it. Jennifer's eyes widened. "There it is. My attitude is the problem, not the systemic discrimination we were discussing. Not the eye-rolling, not the condescension. My attitude." "That's not what I meant," Robin backtracked quickly. "It's exactly what you meant, and it's exactly what I was talking about. Women get labeled as having attitude problems when they refuse to accept unacceptable behavior." Robin was visibly frustrated now. "You're twisting my words. I'm repeating them back to you. If that sounds twisted, maybe the problem isn't with my hearing." The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. The cameras were still rolling, capturing every moment of this unprecedented television moment. "Look, Jennifer," Robin said, trying once more to regain control. "Can we please just move on? Our viewers tuned in to hear about your work, not to watch an argument." "Oh, now you're concerned about the viewers? Were you thinking about them when you rolled your eyes? Or when you told me I had an attitude problem? I said your attitude was part of the problem right now, in this moment. That's different." "Is it though? Because it sounds like you're still blaming me for your behavior." Robin's hands were gripping her interview cards so tightly her knuckles were white. "I'm not blaming you for anything. You're blaming me for having an attitude when I called out your dismissive behavior. You're blaming me for making this uncomfortable when you could have simply acknowledged what happened and moved forward." "What do you want me to say?" Robin's voice was getting louder. "I want you to say what actually happened. I want you to acknowledge that you rolled your eyes at me when I was discussing something important to me." "Fine. Maybe I showed some frustration." "Maybe you showed some frustration," Jennifer repeated. "That's your acknowledgement? Maybe? Yes, okay. I was frustrated because you were putting words in my mouth and making accusations about the industry that I'm part of too." Jennifer's voice dropped to a dangerously quiet level. So you were frustrated with me for speaking about my experiences in the industry because those experiences implicate the industry you're part of. Robin realized she had just walked into a trap. I didn't mean it like that. How did you mean it, Robin? Because it sounds like you're more concerned about protecting the industry than listening to someone who's been harmed by it. Nobody said you were harmed. I said I was harmed. I've been talking about how ageism has affected me and women like me. But apparently that doesn't matter because it makes you uncomfortable. Robin was getting defensive now. It doesn't make me uncomfortable. I'm just trying to present a balanced perspective. Balanced according to who? The networks? The studios? The same systems that benefit from keeping women like me quiet? That's not fair. What's not fair is having my lived experiences questioned by someone who benefits from the very system I'm critiquing. The words hung in the air like a bomb that had just exploded. Robin's face went through several expressions before settling on barely contained anger. I think that's enough, Robin said firmly. Enough of what? The truth? Enough of the personal attacks. Jennifer looked genuinely surprised. Personal attacks? When did discussing systemic issues become personal attacks? When you started implying that I'm part of some conspiracy to silence women. I didn't say conspiracy. I said system. And if pointing out that you benefit from that system feels like a personal attack, maybe that should tell you something. Robin stood up abruptly, her microphone cord stretching. I don't have to sit here and be lectured. Jennifer remained seated, looking up at Robin with an expression of complete disbelief. And there it is. When confronted with uncomfortable truths, the person in power walks away. I'm not walking away from anything. I'm ending an interview that has become completely derailed. Derailed from what? From the approved talking points? From the comfortable narrative where we pretend everything is fine? Robin was clearly struggling with whether to... Robin slowly sat back down, but her body language screamed reluctance. Fine. Let's finish this professionally. Now you want to be professional? Jennifer's voice was sharp as a blade. After standing up and threatening to walk out because you didn't like what I was saying? I wasn't threatening anything. I was trying to salvage what's left of this interview. Salvage it for who? For the network? For your reputation? Or for the viewers who deserve to see real conversations instead of sanitized promotional fluff? Robin's eyes flashed dangerously. Don't lecture me about what viewers deserve. I've been serving audiences a lot longer than you've been making movies. The studio went dead silent. Even the camera operators looked shocked. Jennifer's mouth fell open slightly. Did you just try to pull rank on me? Jennifer asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I stated a fact. You stated your opinion about whose career matters more. Robin realized her mistake immediately, but it was too late. That's not what I said. You just told me you've been serving audiences longer than I've been making movies, as if my 3 decades in entertainment somehow count for less than your journalism career. I was talking about television specifically. No, you were trying to diminish my credibility by suggesting your experience is more valuable than mine. Robin's composure was completely shattered now. I never said your experience wasn't valuable. You didn't have to say it explicitly. You just implied that your years in television give you more authority to speak about what audiences want than my years of actually being watched by those audiences. That's not what I meant, and you know it. What I know is that you're doing exactly what I said the industry does to women. You're trying to silence me by questioning my authority to speak about my own experiences. Robin's face was flushed with anger now. I'm not trying to silence anyone. Really? Because you've dismissed my concerns, rolled your eyes at me, blamed my attitude, threatened to walk out, and now you're suggesting that your experience is more relevant than mine. If that's not an attempt to silence someone, what would you call it? I would call it trying to have a rational conversation with someone who's determined to be confrontational. Jennifer laughed, but there was no warmth in it. There it is again. I'm being confrontational. Not passionate. Not defending myself. Confrontational. You are being confrontational. And you're being dismissive, condescending, and defensive. But somehow only my behavior is the problem. Robin slammed her interview cards down on the table. You know what? Yes, your behavior is a problem right now. You came on this show with an agenda to pick a fight. Jennifer's eyes went wide. I came on this show to promote a project and answer questions honestly. You're the one who made this confrontational by dismissing everything I said. I didn't dismiss anything. You rolled your eyes, Robin, on live television, at me, when I was talking about discrimination I've faced. How is that not dismissive? It was one moment of frustration. It was a moment that revealed exactly what I was talking about. The casual dismissal of women's concerns. Robin leaned forward aggressively. Stop making this about gender. This is about you being impossible to interview. Impossible to interview? Or impossible to control? What's that supposed to mean? It means you're used to guests who play along with the script, who give you the sound bites you want, who don't push back when you're unprofessional. Robin's voice was rising again. I am not unprofessional. You rolled your eyes at a guest discussing discrimination. You blamed me for your behavior. You threatened to walk out. You pulled rank on me. You called me confrontational for defending myself. What part of that was professional? The part where I tried to keep this interview on track instead of letting it devolve into a lecture about industry problems. So discussing real issues is devolving? Talking about discrimination is off track? When it becomes an attack on everyone around you, yes. Jennifer's voice went dangerously quiet again. Attack on everyone around me? Who did I attack, Robin? You've been attacking the industry, the networks, me. I criticized systems and behaviors. You're the one making it personal. You said I benefit from systems that harm women. How is that not personal? Because it's true, and acknowledging uncomfortable truths isn't the same as making personal attacks. Robin threw her hands up. See? There you go again. Everything I say, you twist into some larger conspiracy. I haven't twisted anything. I've responded directly to what you've said and done. The fact that you don't like my responses doesn't make them twisted. Your responses are completely disproportionate to anything that's happened here. Disproportionate? I'm matching your energy, Robin. You've been dismissive, I've called it out. You've been condescending, I've responded. You've been defensive, I've pressed the point. I haven't been any of those things. Jennifer stared at her in complete disbelief. Are you serious right now? You're actually going to sit there and deny behavior that millions of people just watched happen? I'm saying you're exaggerating everything. I'm describing what happened. If that sounds like exaggeration to you, maybe that should tell you something about your behavior. The tension had reached a breaking point. Both women were leaning forward in their chairs, voices raised, neither backing down. The studio audience looked like they were watching a car crash in slow motion. You know what, Jennifer? Robin's voice was shaking with anger. Maybe the problem isn't the industry. Maybe the problem is that you can't handle being questioned about anything without turning it into a victim narrative. The words hit like a slap. Jennifer went completely still, her face a mask of controlled fury. You just told a woman who has experienced systemic discrimination that she's playing victim, and you think I'm overreacting? Robin looked genuinely startled by the volume of Jennifer's voice. I didn't mean it that way. How did you mean it, Robin? Because there's only one way to interpret what you just said. You just told millions of viewers that women who speak up about discrimination are creating victim narratives. That's not what I said. It's exactly what you said. Jennifer was on her feet now, pointing directly at Robin. You looked into that camera and told America that when women discuss the discrimination they've faced, they're playing victim. Do you understand what you just did? Robin was shrinking back in her chair. Jennifer, please sit down. No, I will not sit down. I will not be quiet. I will not pretend that what you just said is acceptable. Jennifer's voice was shaking with rage. You have just given every person who wants to dismiss women's experiences the perfect soundbite. Congratulations, Robin. You've just set back every conversation about workplace discrimination by years. You're putting words in my mouth. I'm quoting you directly. You said maybe the problem isn't the industry. Maybe the problem is that I can't handle being questioned without turning it into a victim narrative. Those were your exact words. The control room was probably in complete chaos, but the cameras kept rolling, capturing every second of Jennifer's explosion. You want to know what a real victim narrative looks like, Robin? Jennifer's voice was building to a crescendo. A real victim narrative is when someone gets dismissed, gaslit, and attacked for speaking their truth, and then gets blamed for their reaction to that treatment. Nobody attacked you. You attacked my credibility. You attacked my character. You attacked my right to speak about my own experiences. And now you're attacking my reaction to your attacks. Robin was looking around desperately, probably hoping someone would cut to commercial. I think we should take a break. Oh no, we're not taking a break. We're going to finish this right here, right now. Jennifer's voice was commanding, powerful, unstoppable. You started this by dismissing my concerns. You escalated it by rolling your eyes. You made it personal by questioning my professionalism. And you crossed the line by calling my experiences a victim narrative. Jennifer, please. Please what? Please be quiet? Please go back to being America's sweetheart who never rocks the boat? Please pretend that what just happened here is normal? Jennifer turned directly to face the camera, ignoring Robin completely. Let me tell you what's not normal. What's not normal is having your lived experiences dismissed as victim narratives. What's not normal is being told you're overreacting when you defend yourself against unprofessional behavior. What's not normal is being blamed for someone else's inability to conduct a respectful interview. She whipped back around to face Robin. You had one job, Robin. One job. To ask questions and listen to answers. Instead, you decided to debate my reality, dismiss my experiences, and attack my character. And when I called you out on it, you blamed me. I was trying to present multiple perspectives. No, you were trying to protect a system that you benefit from. And when I wouldn't let you do that quietly, you resorted to personal attacks. Robin's voice was barely a whisper now. They weren't personal attacks. Calling someone's experiences a victim narrative isn't a personal attack. Questioning their ability to handle professional conversations isn't a personal attack. What would you call it? I would call it a disagreement that got out of hand. Jennifer threw her head back and laughed, but it was a sound full of fury and disbelief. A disagreement that got out of hand. That's what you're calling this. Not your unprofessional behavior. Not your dismissive attitude. Not your personal attacks. Just a disagreement that got out of hand. She leaned down close to Robin, her voice deadly serious. This didn't get out of hand, Robin. This is what happens when you underestimate someone. This is what happens when you think you can dismiss and gaslight a woman who has been in this industry for 30 years. This is what happens when you mistake kindness for weakness. Jennifer straightened up and looked directly into the camera again. And to everyone watching at home, this is what gaslighting looks like. This is what dismissive behavior looks like. This is what happens when systems protect themselves instead of listening to the people they harm. She turned back to Robin one final time. You want to know what I learned here today, Robin? I learned that even women in positions of power will throw other women under the bus to protect systems that benefit them. I learned that speaking truth to power makes people incredibly uncomfortable. And I learned that some people would rather attack the messenger than acknowledge the message. Robin was sitting in stunned silence, clearly having no idea how to respond. Jennifer looked back at the camera. Thank you for watching what real journalism should never look like. And thank you for witnessing what happens when someone refuses to be silenced. The studio was dead silent except for the hum of the cameras. Jennifer stood there for a moment longer, her chest rising and falling as she tried to control her breathing. Then, without another word, she unclipped her microphone, dropped it on her chair, and walked off the set, leaving Robin sitting alone in the wreckage of what had just happened. The cameras kept rolling as Robin stared after her, mouth agape, clearly having no idea how to salvage what was left of the show. The silence stretched on, becoming more uncomfortable with each passing second. This was live television at its most raw, most unpredictable, and most explosive. And millions of viewers had just witnessed Jennifer Aniston like they had never seen her before. Make sure to subscribe for more incredible stories like this one, And comment below with your thoughts on what really happened here. Was Jennifer justified in her explosive response, or did she take things too far? Let me know what you think.